like we've got live going? Yes? Hello there, it's Leanne Phillipson, registered nutritionist. Welcome to Cook Together, and for us, myself and my daughters, it's self-isolation day 12. 2 more days to go. Honestly, I'm not really sure what we're gonna do after day 14, but I don't know, because there's not too much to do, but we might just not feel so bad about maybe, I don't know, going in an elevator instead of taking 22 flights of stairs down and up with our dog a few times a day. So today it's Saturday, and just for those snackers that are out there, because boy oh boy, at this time it's a time of a lot of snacking. So you just kind of keep on heading back into the kitchen, head to the fridge. What else can I eat? What else can I do? I'm a bit bored. So I thought, let's make some dips today. We have lots of leftovers of tacos from last night. We have the chicken nibbles from the other night as well. So we're going to feast on those for our dinner tonight, because as I've been making all these recipes to share with you, to hopefully inspire you to be in the kitchen and to make some new recipes and some different recipes from my book, Spirit Right Family Food. Well, I mean, they just happen to be from my book. These are recipes that I make all the time. So it's also helped me because it has given us some structure to our day when, after March break, things were just like, what happened? Everything's just completely on its head to what we knew of before. So today, to encourage you to eat more of these lovely, colorful vegetables, of course you can have crackers with these dips, you can have corn chips with these dips, but these veggies are actually left over from about 3 days ago, I think it was. Is that right, Logan? Maybe when we did the quesadillas, or actually no, it was the rainbow rice wraps. That was the first time that I chopped these up, and they're still going strong. I just took them out of the fridge, and so when I said that once you prep just that whole container, if you haven't seen that video, then head back by about 3 or 4 days. That was maybe day 9 or day 8. Then I also use these for the quesadillas too. So this is the container of prepped veggies that kind of just keeps on giving. So we've got 2 different dips that I want to make today. A lot of people think making hummus, that's such a pain in the butt. Well, I'm gonna make the hummus with my hand blender. Show you that really anybody can do this, even if you don't have a food processor. I'm going to make the Beany Green Dip in the blender. So 2 different ways to make your dips. If you have a food processor, then of course you can use that for all of the recipes. But it's different when you make it using a hand blender, and that's how I used to teach in my cooking classes for years and years and years. So here's what we're making today. I always like to show the photos. So we're going to do hummus. I'm going to do that one second, and the Beany Green Dip is coming first. So here I have a Blendtec high-powered blender, and when I make dips, I actually use a fancy top, but I put that out. So this actually works as something that you can turn like that, so it sort of stirs everything around. If you have a Vitamix, then there's the temper, which can move things around. And if you have another, that's sometimes why a food processor, when you're making a dip, is easier, because it pushes it around as opposed to take the lid off, move everything around with a wooden spoon or some safe spatula, not while the motor is going. So I'm using cannellini beans. These are actually my favorite beans to make hummus from too. I am going to use chickpeas just to keep it traditional, but this, I use cannellini beans, which are white kidney beans, to make a lot of dips, because it ends up being a lot much smoother actually when you use these. I do have leftover some of the aduki beans, which I put into the quesadilla. I would absolutely make any bean dip with that too. So into my blender, it's so fast and easy. That's about 1/4 cup of oil. If you're looking for the recipe, then you'll find it on Spirit Right Facebook and Instagram page, and if you're watching this on YouTube, then you'll find it below. Also, I've got some fresh lemon juice. I'm gonna put that in there. Really, you can make this to taste however you like. Now, I've got a clove of garlic here ready to go in. The more garlic, the better. sometimes garlic can be a bit hot for slightly younger palates, and you don't want it to be too overwhelming, although I love garlic so much for supporting the immune system, for really, really helping. It's antibacterial, antiviral, pretty much anti-everything. So I talk about that in my podcast episode that's coming out on Monday, where I've gone through a whole bunch of really important aspects to bulletproofing your immunity. So that's coming out on Monday. Eat this with Leanne if you haven't come across my podcast before. So I've just poured in some cumin and paprika. That's what goes in there as well. And then I'm going to put in a sprinkle of some amazing salt, some Himalayan salt, and then a whole bunch of pepper. And that's along with the greens. Here we've got the greens. Now, while my blender is really pretty powerful, I'm gonna, because these the sticks of the stems, I should say, of the cilantro are gonna end up sort of as like toothy floss. then I'm just gonna chop it up a little bit, make it a little bit easier for it. You can use basil for this too, but this is what gives it such flavor. I absolutely love this recipe because it's just like wow. And anyone that's out there that does not have the enzyme, which means that when you have cilantro, it tastes like you're eating soap, then that's actually based on an enzyme that you don't have, a little bit like when you eat asparagus and you have a really smelly pea. That also comes down to a lack of an enzyme. So the recipe actually calls for collard, which is a much flatter leaf, which I don't have. So it's going to be kale. I could also use one of my favorites, spinach, in this too. So again, just trying to make it green, as much greens as possible. So I'm going to maybe just throw in a little bit more kale because, it's easier to get the greens in when it's something like this than maybe unless you're making kale chips or something like that. Okay, so that's all in there. Now, I'll warn you, my blender can sound like an aircraft carrier at times, so it's going to be a little bit on the loud side. But I'm just going to pulse that and try and turn it at the same time. I'm just going to turn it on to number 1. My blender's going to go sideways a little bit like it's like you're doing a bit of a ski type of thing down a really big hill. So don't be alarmed. I'm not alarmed. I know it's going to happen. Let me just maybe flip over to this. No, I'm going to do it this way. Okay, here we go. Made Beany Green Dip. Here's my bowl. I'm just gonna have a little taste first. Always good to do that. Sometimes I forget to put salt and stuff like that in it, just because I don't really use it very much, and then it ends up like really not tasting. It just needs a little bit of salt just to bring out the flavor. Totally awesome. So you can put that into a container. You can put it into a bowl. Got my fancy spatula here, and really you can blend it as much as you want. So that is, I'm going to call that quite smooth, because there's still just a little bit of texture in there. But if you've got someone in the family that doesn't love beans and that bean texture, then definitely do this super smooth. If you want it ultimately smooth, then maybe even just a little bit more water. As opposed to, you can always put more lemon juice in for a little bit more liquid. It just depends on everyone's taste and flavor. That's not very chef-like. Not that I am a chef, but it's not very chef-like to get it all over the side of the bowl. But you get the picture. So, Beany Green Dip, all ready to go with our vegetables. Okay, so that's the first one done. See, super fast. Super, super fast. Does anybody have a favorite dip that you like to make, or you would like to make? Sometimes tzatziki. My daughter likes to whip up some tzatziki, which is great cucumber and put all of that stuff in. That's also really fun to do. Okay, chickpeas. Super high in fiber, incredible. They are an allergen for some people, but absolutely incredible for just about anything. Roast these little babies, and they're super, super delish. I use them in a lot of the recipes in my book. So once again, everything just goes into, if you're using the bowl, that's 4 tablespoons. I'm gonna do a little less than this really big, massive piece of garlic, just because I have some slightly garlic resistant people in my family at home. Hadley, it gets a little bit hot for Hadley. Okay, so 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Have you ever used tahini before? Tahini is sesame seed paste, and can you believe that in sesame seeds, the little powerhouse, there is more calcium than in milk. Milk is actually, and dairy is not actually a fabulous source of calcium. It's sort of been drilled into us that it really is amazing, but sesame seeds are actually far better source of calcium. Now also sesame seeds, if you've got younger ones at home, then do know that sesame seeds can be quite an allergen. I work with daycares and listen to their, I create better meal plans for them for 4 weeks of what they're feeding the kids. And sesame seeds are one that I continually have to keep on taking out. Who knew that was overtaking peanuts actually? So I've had a lot of feedback from daycares that sesame seeds are becoming a more prominent allergen. I'm not quite sure why yet. I mean, really, the whole situation of allergies is the immune system being hypersensitive, because really, what did a peanut or a sesame seed ever do to anyone? But there is definitely situations where it is not, it's not good at all. So here I have my hand blender. Let's see if I've got enough here to not lose everything over the side. So this, I'm just gonna mash. You could do this in the little, the mini chopper too, or a small section of your food processor, which of course I use a lot of, but sometimes it's at the back of the cupboard, so I just have to bring it out. So it's a little bit more of an event if I'm making something bigger. I'd much rather use this because it's just super quick, and when it comes apart, then I just have to wash that. That's it. So just go at those chickpeas, and this is really quite strong. It's made of stainless steel, so it's not about to break. Not that a plastic one would either, but you may find that your hand blender, immersion blender it's called, is maybe not quite as strong, but still, you could give it a go. Because mashing these guys with a fork would not be fun. Have we any questions or comments? Anything looking at? So just keep going until you get to consistency. So the recipe actually also calls for adding in just a little bit of water. Again, this comes down to a texture that you like. So not everybody loves super smooth. Some people like it really chunky. So you're making this for your family. You can do whatever you like. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of water in there. Give it a bit of a stir, puree it a little bit more. So roasted garlic in this is amazing. Roasted red peppers, olives, artichokes, turmeric, curry. Like, the possibilities are endless with hummus as a base. And again, you don't always have to use chickpeas. You can use any beans. If you've got kidney beans, throw them in. Aduki beans, any of the beans. Pinto beans, they're also really good. Who said that this always has to be made of chickpeas? Other than, I guess, the hummus gods. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now this, like I said, is quite thick that I've made here. Let me grab another spoon and try it out and see how it is. I'd probably actually make it a little thinner. Actually, a little more lemon juice, just to jazz it up a bit. Just use this to stir now that it's all quite smooth and pureed. And hey presto, hummus. So there, I mean, I don't know, how long did that take? It's 16 minutes in, 15 minutes in. 2 dips in under 15 minutes. Yes, I got a bunch of the stuff out ready to go. But if you want to get your family members in on this and ask them, what would you like to add in? Do you like olives? Do you like curry? Do you like whatever it happens to be? Then just add it in, because you get to make your own. And once you've made this a few times and you realize how simple it is and how super tasty it is, yeah, store-bought is convenience, which is great. But while you're at home, while you've got a little bit extra time, maybe while you're enjoying more snacks than usual, why don't you try this? Create these, because you've got so many recipes already that I've shared with you that you can continue to use for all the vitamin C in here. I read I listened to another presentation on vitamin C and viruses, and our peppers here have got vitamin C in it. We are really talking about taking a supplement when it comes to antiviral activity within with vitamin C. So about 1,000 milligrams 3 times a day would be optimal. If not a little bit more buffered one, like my Alka-C, which is from the Take This by Leanne line. You can see all that on sproutright.com. I'll post a bit more information underneath if you've got questions about that. But 1 teaspoon of my Alka-C is 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C. There's also magnesium in there. There's also some zinc in there. All the minerals that are in there are absolutely incredible for just overall keeping your body moving along, keeping your body doing the processes that it needs to do. So vitamin C, vitamin C, vitamin C. So all the colorful fruits, all the colorful vegetables. I know I keep saying that. I feel like a broken record, but I'm going to keep on saying it. And the anti-inflammatory components that come from all these incredible colors, including the beets that are here, are so good for your health. So while you're snacking, while you're having your snackathon and you're heading back into the kitchen again, then you know that you've got garlic in here, you've got fiber, which is incredible for the microbiome and the immune system, the 80% of your immune system, which is in your gut. Get that vitamin C in there and the vitamin D, and you're doing a really great job with your immune system. Remember to head on over to iTunes, Spotify, or News Talk 1010 and iHeartRadio. You can subscribe to my Eat This with Leanne podcast, and that's coming out on Monday. I'll put a clip up on social media so you can have a quick listen to my promo, which is always quite funny. And yep, the podcast does sound a little bit different because I'm coming to you from my closet. Well, that's just what we got to do while we're in isolation and we're staying safe and we're distancing ourselves. So the show still goes on. It's just from my closet instead. All right, I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have a lovely dinner of a baked risotto. Yes, it's possible that you don't have to slave over just by the stove. Keep on pouring it in, which is a lovely thing to do. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice thing to do on a Sunday afternoon maybe, but I'm all about put it in one pot, throw it in the oven, and hey presto, there we go. We've got dinner while you're cleaning up, relaxing, or having some more time with your family. All right, have a lovely evening, and I will see you tomorrow.